Beautiful day outside. Testing out this new app I'm gonna use for streaming. But before I get to that, hello everybody. Just taking a moment, enjoying the nice weather outside. A little warm, but what can you do? It's May 17, 18? Oh gosh, I don't even know what day it is. The days are starting to blend together. Actually, they have been blending together for some time. Hey birds. And my plants in the weird box. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating already too. Just giving it a few moments. Again, enjoying the nice outdoors. Got y'all on a selfie stick here, as always. What do we got outside? Can I flip the camera? I can. Hey, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. I know I am. We'll be cooking shortly enough. I got a good surprise. Not a surprise. We're going all out, I think. Hopefully it turns out well. Fingers crossed. Trying something a little different here, where I don't really have a solid recipe, or like exact measurements, I should say. But we're gonna wing it, and I think we're gonna be okay. And there is, what's it called? It's evading my head right now. Oh, wine. White wine. Red wine? Both of them. Yeah. I have never cooked with those before. I barely, if at all, drink wine. Actually, you can pretty much say never. Okay, just like slightly above never have I drank wine before. But I don't seek it out. But I went shopping yesterday, picked up some white wine, some red wine. We'll be cooking with that. What else we got? I hope the connection here is good. I'm out on my balcony. The bedroom's over there, and that's where the router and whatever are. But yeah, I just wanted to give a few moments. I hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Saturday was good too. Work's been a little iffy, a little rough, but we're getting through anyways. Can I do this, or is it too dark? It's a little too dark. I like the natural lighting of being outside, but man, is it hot. And if I could get a burner out here, dude, an outdoor cooking stream would be pretty nice. Actually, I think I can get that set up. I can do something like that. So, potentially something involving my, I have like a electric griddle. Let's go with that. An electric griddle out inside. I can bring it out here, put up a table. I got an outlet somewhere on that wall there. But yeah, we got plans. But right now, we got something special inside. Let's go inside. Birds will chill outside. Oh, okay. I was like, what's that noise? It's the little air filter. We've got quite a few things cooking today. That is pretty much everything, like a rough draft. You know, when you get like a skeleton of what you're gonna write, so you just like kind of lay it all out. Yeah, that's what this is. I'm just gonna kind of take you inside what's going on in my head. We've got 3 gold potatoes. Those are for mashed potatoes. Some butter, cheese, dill weed. That goes good in some mashed potatoes. And some salt. I'm not going to add pepper to that. I don't think I have any white pepper left. I believe I finished that, yeah. And if I did, I would add that in there. But I don't. And I don't want to add black pepper. I want to kind of keep it light. Although the green dill weed will add some color. Next, we have some olive oil, white wine, Barefoot, thank you. Salt and pepper, mushrooms, heavy cream, onion, lemon, 1 clove of garlic, and some butter again. Next, we've got a steak. Just letting that kind of get to room temperature. Already salted, already has pepper on it. Let that sit overnight, and I'm going to add some butter and some more garlic. And then here we have salmon and red wine, also barefoot. Shout outs to my friend Alex and his girlfriend Jada for kind of introducing me, or letting me know that barefoot was the way to go, I think. Or it was their pick, and I was like, why not? So shout outs to those two. I'll probably be using this onion for a little bit of this. Actually, let me reel back a little. Mashed potatoes. We've got, this is going to be a cream sauce with mushrooms. But I'm going to use some of the onion for this. A little bit diced here. And then a little bit in the red sauce, hopefully. I would have preferred shallots, but I don't have any, so we'll go with that. And I think I'll keep the red sauce kind of maybe I'll keep it just liquid, no little bits inside. Like this one will have mushrooms, garlic, and onion. A little hint of touch of lemon. Maybe I'll put some lemon on that too. So that's why I don't have much of a final draft. Those are some instructions back there. I was just kind of writing it out this morning. Excuse me, red wine. Right? Yeah, so steak, salmon, mushrooms, just kind of running it all through my head and kind of a rough information. But that's for me, really. Got our workstation here. Should be good to go. I want to give it a little minute, you know. Hope everyone's doing well. Howdy all to whoever's watching currently. It's been... Actually, let me find out what day it is today. Alexa, what's the date today?
It's Sunday, May 17th.
Oh, it is the 17th. Okay. Well, see, I should know that because I just messaged 2 people happy birthday. And, like, I'm really bad with dates around the first half of the year. The second half, once it gets to the Timbers, September, October, November, December, super easy. I can tell what month is what. Everything else is like January, June, July, May, August, April. I don't know. And not in that order. I know it's not in that order. Anyways. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. This work from home shenanigans has been going on for well over a month now. I think we were approaching 2 months next week because I believe March 23rd was my work from home start period. And I started doing this cooking stuff to kind of just keep in touch with everybody I work with, even when it wasn't work days, and I know everyone's busy while they work, but I figured Sunday evenings, maybe everyone has a little bit of time. You know, make sure you got a little bit of time. But, you know, just kind of relax, get together, whoever wants to tune in. What else happened? We'll put the cooking aside. We've got plenty of things planned out. I think the potatoes and the cream sauce will take the longest, for sure. The steak, 10 minutes, tops. It's really just cooking it and then letting it sit. And then the salmon. Oh yeah, salmon is also a sear. I don't want that cooked all the way through, and that's okay. It's not chicken or anything like that. Just checking the birds. It's not chicken or anything like that, so you can have a little medium rare situation going on, or seared on the outside, light pink on the inside. But yeah, I went shopping at H-E-B yesterday to pick up the wines, the steak, the mushrooms, potatoes, and I already had some salmon. I planned on actually doing something like this last week, but last week was Mother's Day, so I was like, no, I'm gonna let everyone just, relax with the fam, celebrate the moms, all the moms out there. I saw my mom last week. I saw her yesterday as well. So I've been having a good weekend so far. And also just playing some games. Got some stuff in the mail. Always exciting to get a package, especially with everybody working from home. I can't imagine how many people are just online shopping and just being like bored buying. I did go to Best Buy yesterday and return something, so that was a lot of money back, which I then used to buy other stuff, such as all this groceries. I think I can get set up now. So let's start with a little bit of ingredient prep. Let's get you guys going. I got a little marker here on where you guys can stand. And just tilt it. Up you go. Oh, I forgot one more thing. Oh my gosh. And I'll wash my hands too. Let's get you guys situated. I don't want it to be crooked. Whoa. Okay. Chill. Good enough. Be right back. Gonna get the apron. I'll pop this on, and then I'll wash my hands, and we'll start with some ingredient preparation. First things first, we're probably going to go with the papas, the potatoes. Get those chopped up and boiling. We want those to be soft for the, let's see, it was through both. Loop back around. Howdy. Hey, Aki. Or Aki. Aquila. It's been a while. I haven't had to say anybody's name in a while. Hope you're having a good weekend. And hope you're ready for some fancy dinner. Hopefully it's fancy. I mean, that's kind of the theme I was going for. A nice treat yourself dinner. I can't eat all of it. It's like a whole steak and some salmon. Salmon. I say salmon. I get roasted all the time. Well, enough about that. Wash our hands here. Don't skimp on washing your hands. So, salmon, steak, potatoes, and a mushroom cream sauce, side dish, whatever. Very good. A little dry going, and then we'll start. First things first, let's go over the potatoes. They are gold. I don't think they're Yukon gold. It just says gold on it. But it's pretty yellow to me. We've got 3 here. Hopefully that should be plenty. And we're chopping this up to go into uniform pieces so that they boil consistently. Let's also get some water going. So pot of water, fill it up just enough, or more than enough to cover all of these once they're all chopped up. And that should be good, like so. That's going on back on the stove. I'll turn it on already. It'll take a while to boil, but let's chop these up. So we're going for uniform pieces. I don't want to do this. Let's just do chunks. Keep those to the side. We'll do one at a time. Okay. So big chunks, doesn't have to be too specific. Just try and get a ballpark for the right size. I'm doing chunks here. Okay. And then 2. Depending on the length and width and all that of your potato, might vary how you chop it up. But again, these are all going to turn into mashed potatoes anyways. So we're getting them nice and small so that they cook at the same rate, and we're left with nice, fluffy, fork tender, as they say, potatoes. 1, 2, 3. So I'm having a rough time chopping it through. That's because it's kind of on a rounded surface. Obviously, a potato not being very flat. So I'll try and cut that next one a little differently. And since this one was a small one, I don't have to do those 2 cuts. I'll just do 1, turn around 1, like so. Done. And this last one, we're gonna chop off a little bit here. That way it rests properly. Give that a little cut. And then now I can cut it without it rolling around or anything. So that's probably what I should have done from the start. Okay. And then take each one. Now they can rest because they have a sliced surface now for easy cutting. That should be plenty of potatoes, actually. But I think these medium-sized potatoes, 3 was perfect. There we go. In other news, I said I was, or I had shopped at HEB yesterday, and with the mask rule, the mandatory mask wearing, let's get these going. Let's just put these in. They're going in the pot. The pot's not even boiling yet, but that's okay. I'll be able to gauge how well they're done in about 10 minutes. You can just pick one up, poke it with a fork. It should be good. Nice and tender. Shouldn't break apart too much though. Okay. But yeah, I was shopping at HEB and some guy had his, like, I guess daughter or some kid with him. And they just walked in without a mask, and then they were immediately stopped as soon as they got in through the front door. I'm like, what did you expect? And don't tell me he was, like, blind to this whole mandatory mask rule thing. But how could he have even made it that far? Imagine. But doing what we can to stay safe. They promptly stopped him at the front door, told him, can't come in, don't have a mask. He said, oh, now what am I going to do? It's like, not shop here, that's for sure. So that was an interesting sight to my start of my Saturday. Potatoes are going. That went in 5:15, 5:14-ish. We want to boil those for about 10 minutes. Next, we can handle mushrooms. So I've got white mushrooms here. I'll probably give these all a wash. Yeah, definitely a wash. That's just straight up dirt. Yo, some dirty mushrooms. Okay, we'll give these a rinse. Good rinse. Cold water, please. What else happened? Oh yeah, as I was done shopping, I'm passing by a lady, and she's got her daughter in the cart. Little kid, sitting in the top portion. The daughter looks at me, gives me a wave, and like, you know, if you go to HEB and it has that intercom thing where they're like, you know, please refrain from handshakes or hugs, and let's just do a friendly smile. And I'm like, how are you supposed to smile through a mask? But I smiled at the girl and she just waved back. But I was like, she's not gonna see this. It's just me, like, my eyes getting wider as I smile. So I feel like it looks weird, but, you know, whatever. Oh, that's a goner. Let's give it another wash. Okay, so they're a little bit wet. Oops, sorry, mushroom. One more rinse. Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna cook with all of these, but I'll definitely do a lot. And these ones we're also aiming for like chunks, bite-sized pieces. But given the size of the mushroom, we'll do quarters here, and they'll shrink a lot. So, not too worried about this being too big or anything. That's a quarter piece right there. Set it aside. The stove is starting to creak. Stove? Did I just say stove? The stove is starting to creak as it gets hotter, but I am keeping an eye out. Actually, let's go. Whoa. Yeah. So, stove is doing its thing. I'm gonna add some salt. I forgot to salt the water, but it's okay. And it's okay if it's really salted because we're not going to use that water per se, but we're just going to salt it so the potatoes get a little bit of seasoning as they boil. And they're only going to be in here for 8 to 10 minutes or so of boiling, so they're not going to spend too much time in the salty water. Perfect, no? Alright, let's go back. Hello to everybody who has just joined as well. We started making some, or boiling some potatoes for mashed potatoes, and now we're cutting up mushrooms for a white wine cream sauce. Hopefully it turns out well. I'm kind of ad-libbing this recipe, just based off everything I know. Not really concerned too much about measurements. I've been recently just being like, I think I can do it. And winging it based off prior knowledge. And it's experience. And I know that no matter how it turns out, I'll probably eat it. I have cooked with mushrooms before. I've cooked, or I've made mashed potatoes. I have not cooked with wine before. So that's going to be interesting. Let's get a little bit more going here. I think that'll be good enough. Or I could just make the whole batch. Yeah, right? Let's cook them all. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's not too much. Or maybe we'll just prep them all, but we won't have to cook it all. I'll just Ziploc the rest. Save it for later. Again, not too worried about portions. When it comes to this, I'll just cook what I want. That one's pretty big. Good, almost done here. There's a little stalk, I'll just leave that as is. That one looks a little bruised. And finally, last one. Stove is creaking some more. And that's our mushrooms. Great. Let's put these back in here. Ooh, red wine and spaghetti sauce. Now that sounds pretty good actually. I have made spaghetti sauce from scratch using a can of what is it called? I have another can here. Yeah. Peeled tomatoes. This is the brand I would use. And I put some olive oil, garlic, let that saute. But red wine in that sounds awesome. Oh, speaking of red wine, let's take a look at the bottle here. Your affordable finds section Barefoot Pinot Noir comes in a dark glass or dark bottle. Medium bodied wine. Red, as I heard. Gonna give the potatoes a stir. I like the idea of what wine does. It does give the dish some body, some flavor. Just as you said, lots of flavor. Red wine to spaghetti sauce. That is definitely something I will keep in mind. So, At first, I thought the idea with what I was making here was going to be kind of like a quick dinner for yourself, but kind of fancy. And I realized as I was like coming up with all of this, I think if you want something to be fancy for like cheap or without too much expense, having a sauce makes a huge difference. Whoops. Like, or if you can make a sauce by yourself, heavy cream sauces, I think, are just make it fancier for some reason. I don't know why. It's just the vibe I get from it. It's like, oh, it's got a nice creamy white wine reduction, and it's like, look, it's just heavy cream and white wine. But I mean, maybe people don't have white wine. Actually, of course, not everyone will have white wine at their house, or heavy cream on the side. I have milk too. Maybe you could use that. To an extent, it's not the same thing though. Actually, let's move you guys over. The pot is quite boiling now. So, let's get you guys situated. Right there. That's good. Give that a stir. I'll get a fork on the standby. Don't expect it to be done. Yeah, I can't even really penetrate it. So these definitely have a long way to go. This will be for our what's it called? Our sauce. Right. So we've got some butter. Oh, we've got more ingredients to go. So we'll let that heat up. That's cooking right now. I'm juggling a lot here, so we got to move quick. Mushrooms are ready though. Let's move that to the side. Let's prep some onions and chop up the garlic already. So for the sauce, let me wipe this down too. For the cream sauce, we do want minced garlic. We don't want any big chunks in there. That's for sure. Let's chop that. Excellent. You should try some sauteed green beans with garlic and oil. Oh, what's up, Ty? Glad you could make it. Sauteed green beans. That sounds good too. I've had that with garlic and soy sauce, but garlic and oil, that sounds great too. Honestly, garlic and green beans go great together. Nice flavor with that. Right now, watching my pot get to a kind of an aggressive boil. Might check that out in a moment. We're moving quick. My garlic's a little bruised too. I don't like that. But we'll go. 1, 2. Chop off the ends here. I don't like that. Oops, chopped off the wrong end. Don't want any of that. You guys can see this, right? Cool. I'm gonna slice off that little bad piece. Check on the potatoes. Reduce the heat just a little. It's on a rapid boil. And I don't mind if these cook a little slower. Green beans and oil, man. And then spaghetti and red wine. So much food to make, but I can't eat it all. Actually, no. Shoot. We'll save these two. I only wanted to dedicate 1 clove to the sauce. Oh, jeez. This clove might have been a little bit old. So I'm gonna mince this up as finely as I can get it. Kind of like the same way you mince onion, but obviously this is a lot smaller. Excellent. And then you can just run your knife again, rocking motion. But it's pretty fine for what it's worth. Again, only 1 clove. Maybe that's not enough. I don't know. That'll be fine. Garlic and oil is how my mom made them. Found out the secret to how they're made is microwave green beans first until they're al dente. And in low heat with a cover. What the heck? With a cover to steam them to taste. Preposterous microwave in cooking? How dare you? No, it's just, that sounds good. I don't have green beans. But that definitely sounds like an easy way to get them pretty, like, what is it? Al dente? Yeah. Oh, and then steam them. Ooh, I love green beans too. Green beans and green peas. Probably one of my top 2 of the green vegetables that I'd eat. Or legumes, whatever. Legumes? Whatever you want to call it. Can I please peel this? There you go. Excellent. This is the mincing for the, what's it called? The sauce. So again, another fine mince. I should separate the garlic. In you go. Come along now. Don't cut yourself. Very good. Garlic, set aside. Onion, quick, thinly sliced. I gotta check on the potatoes in a sec. Hopefully they're not too overcooked. Okay. Probably just chop this whole half onion since I already separated it. Oops. You don't want to cut all the way through when you go this way. Why is the chat so big? Sheesh. Get off the heat really quick. Stir it. I can smell the potatoes, that's for sure. But how do they feel? Ooh, getting there. Maybe a few more minutes. I want it a little bit softer than that. Although they will be returning to the heat after they're done boiling. Very good. How does the chat just stay so big? Can't see the screen. Okay, back to dicing this. Again, do I want to cut this way? Sure. Watch your fingers as you cut. Now, I don't really know about how I feel with those horizontal slices, because the onion's kind of designed in a way that each shred is already separated. So those flat cuts just seem kind of redundant. Again, I wish this was a shallot, but we'll make do with what we have. Nice and finely diced. Man, you could put this on like a McDonald's burger and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You know, with those really tiny diced onion. My eye's starting to tear up a little. Ugh. What do we need? Something to put those onions in. Very good. Stove is creaking away. Oh yeah, the pan for the sauce is getting nice and hot too. Very nice. It's kind of a lot of onion, so we probably won't add all of that. Great. Garlic and onion ready. Potatoes boiling. Let's get a strainer. Reduce the heat. The other pan seems quite hot. Oh yeah, that's plenty. pretty soft. Well, let me bring you guys kind of over here. Ooh. That should be good. Great. Potatoes are ready. So I'm just gonna. The birds are freaking out outside. Steamy. But those are quite tender now. You can check it with a fork. Yeah, pierces all the way through. Pretty much no resistance, but they just maintain their shape so that when we bring it back, the rest of the heat will cook it all the way through. We need to open up the heavy cream though, so let me give that a shake and open it. We didn't even open it yet. To the stove, yeah? Let's go. It's gonna go with potatoes go back in. I think I should do this in the just in a regular bowl for mixing. But I'm gonna see how this turns out. So we introduced it back to the heat. We're on to add, maybe not yet, a little bit of butter. Make sure you don't have any of the wrapper on it. The butter will melt. Nice and dandy. And we'll give it a mash. Maybe a lower heat, or even off. I'll let the residual heat take care of any more cooking that I want to do with it. I don't think it makes too much of a difference to do it here versus in a regular bowl, like a mixing bowl. But I do want it to not stick. Sheesh. Oh, and also not peeling it does create a different texture to your mashed potatoes. If you probably wanted it super fluffy and consistent, definitely peel them prior to doing it, but I don't actually have a peeler here, unfortunately. Let's add some of the cream now, and we'll do it slowly. And we'll use a fork, kind of whisk that in. Stays nice and fluffy, but each little bit that wasn't mashed with the potato masher kind of gives it a little bit of a bite. So let's add some dill now, just a sprinkling. We'll mix that in. I guess we will go with the black pepper just because I want a little bit of that, just a little, and salt to taste, just a pinch for now. Give it a mix. Probably gonna add some more dill once it's plated properly. And this pot is quite hot and ready to go. So now let's get going. Careful, set that to the side. And just scoop it out. So one thing I've seen that people use to get an even finer potato texture is they use a potato ricer, and it kind of like grinds it, kind of like a meat grinder or like a huge garlic press, but for potatoes basically. That's gonna stay to the side. Should probably give it a little bit of a taste though. Creamy. I get the salt at the end. I probably should have mixed it a little more, but that's salted just enough. But potatoey still. Very nice. And a little bit of potato chunks that didn't get mushed provide a little bit of a bite, a little bit of difference to the texture. I don't know how you like your potatoes, but I like it that way rather than just a giant mush as if it came from the pre-made potato box. Back to the stove. Pot's done. We need to keep moving here. This is like ripping hot now. So we're going to get butter going for the mushrooms. Actually, let's get a little bit of oil. Yeah, it looks quite hot. That oil is already shimmering. Just enough to cover the bottom. Let's get most of the onions, excuse me. We want these to get some color, nothing more. They'll cook more when we get the sauce going for them. Put the butter in. Okay, just cleaning off the spatula. Let the butter melt on the bottom. Oops. Got a tiny bit of wrapper. Now these will get nice and brown. Whoops. Hot. Sauteing the mushrooms. That's what we're going for. Alright. Take it easy. Slow down a little. We're making good time. It's no rush. You see the mushrooms are starting to reduce in size already and get a little bit of a brown color, obviously from the cooking. When mushrooms start to cook, they release a lot of their moisture, which is why they shrink. But then it kind of steams the mushrooms back. But you can't really go wrong with cooking mushrooms. You just give them enough time, and then they'll be cooked. And then you can't really overcook them. It's weird. It has something to do with the structure of the mushrooms, but I couldn't tell you for sure. Let's get a little bit of salt going on that. Again, just a pinch. And that'll probably be all the salt we want, maybe for the this cream sauce. So see, all the mushrooms are starting to reduce their moisture, exude the moisture. And you can see that at the bottom of the pan a little. So it stops the browning and it kind of just steams the mushrooms. But it's okay. Give it a few more minutes. Let's, I'm gonna cut this lemon and just squeeze a little bit of it into the mushrooms. Maybe a little more. I just cut like the tip. Add some acidity. I think the lemon provides like some brightness to the flavor of it, which should be good. I'm gonna put the potatoes in the microwave in the meantime. Now it's getting a little bit wet here. I'm also, I think we'll be good actually. Just gonna add some olive oil, but I think the butter is enough fat for right now. And again, those mushrooms are really kind of letting all the moisture come out. And I'll let that reduce. I am gonna measure up the white wine, however. This is a Pinot Grigio. You can't really read that. Pinot Grigio white wine. Again, found in the affordable fine section at your HEB. I'll do a quarter cup. Or maybe a half cup, I don't know. I'm going to raise the heat a little too. I really want this to reduce. Just do a little more. Okay. And as it cooks out, all the alcohol will be taken away. I'm not too worried about the mushrooms kind of sitting in all this liquid, because again, it'll turn into a cream and then it'll get all nice and coated. It'll be fine. After the mushrooms, we do have to work on the steak, which will be cooked in this, followed by the salmon, which will be cooked after, and then we'll work on the possible red wine sauce to come. And that'll be cooked after all the salmon, salmon and steak bits are at the bottom, the fond at the bottom of the pan. I got a little bit of a whiff of the alcohol, and that just was like, whew. Took me aback. Needed to collect myself for a bit. So I want to reduce that white wine, kind of burn off the alcohol flavor and taste. And I really start to smell it now. So let's get some. We'll get the cream ready, and I'll go ahead with probably a half cup, so 2 quarter cups. I really want to let this reduce before I add the cream, and then I'll let that reduce, and it'll all come together quite nicely, hopefully. Maybe let that sit. Very nice. I'm okay with it bubbling. Let's take a quick break, a breather. So right now we've got the potatoes mashed already in the microwave. We're working on the white sauce for a mushroom side dish, and then we'll get ready with our proteins. That is a salted steak ready to go on the cast iron skillet, followed by a salmon that I just need a salmon that I just need to cut up and season a little as well. With steak, especially such a thick cut, you do want to salt your meats as early as you can. Up to 24 hours is perfect. With fish and stuff on a more delicate texture or flesh, 30 minutes, an hour I think is tops for fish. Thicker cuts doesn't really matter. Probably with thinner cuts you definitely don't want to season too much or salt too much. So let's go back. A little lesson on that. I think the alcohol has reduced enough, so I'm going to go ahead and add 1, 2. And then we'll let this reduce as well. Yeah, definitely need to let that reduce. I'm going to give it a little taste. Needs salt. Definitely need some more salt. And we'll stir that in. Add a little bit more cream. And I really want to let that reduce, and then it'll kind of stick more to the the mushrooms. I probably could have gone with all the mushrooms. I forgot that they shrink, and that would affect like the total size of them. But we'll let that sit. Let's get the other stove going for the steak. Everything's coming along nicely, I think. Experimenting with how this goes. Honest thoughts, this is really a lot of liquid, so I'm always worried about how it'll reduce, but you know, it just started. We'll give it, say, 5 minutes of reduction, see how thick it gets. But it is kind of boiling. Yeah, it is boiling. I think it's safe to say that's boiling. We'll let that, we don't want to touch it too much. We'll get some butter in the steak cast iron skillet in a bit. I seem to have forgotten something, but I think I can still add it. I forgot some of the onions and garlic in the mushroom sauce. But what I can do is I'll put it in the cast iron skillet to kind of just saute those really quick, and then I'll just toss them in here. I'll still let the flavors sit and develop. Would it be the exact same? Who knows? But I'll still get some onion and garlic flavor in here, and that's what I think some of the depth of the flavor of this was missing, because it's kind of just white wine and cream for right now. So we'll let that reduce. Now that I have them over here, definitely want to get the cast iron really hot for the steak. But before we get to that point, we'll do our onions and garlic and then toss them in here. I can still smell, I think I can still smell a little bit of the alcohol. That could be just me. We'll just, we'll let those do their thing. There's not really anything going on with that. Pot done. Let's actually get one more cutting board. And let's prepare our salmon. Gosh, I'll never get it down. Salmon. Blech. So when I did buy this salmon, I went ahead and descaled it or whatever, took off all the scales from the skin, but the skin is still on. I do like that. I prefer the skin on. I like the taste that it gives. That's where a lot of the nutrients actually are too, on the skin. And it gives it a nice crispy exterior when you do it right. And I think it protects the rest of the salmon meat on the side that it's on. So this is actually reducing pretty well. But we'll let that do its thing. So, you guys are coming with me really quick. Let's go over here. Salmon, I'm probably just going to go ahead and cut it in half for 2 fillets. This is, I think, 1 pound at this point. Okay, I want to make sure I slice through the skin too. And perfect. So that's 2 fillets ready to go. We'll get some salt and pepper on those right now, actually. So we'll do some pepper. Add some salt. Make sure you get the sides too. And the other side, always season generously for like thick cuts like this. And then the skin. But don't overdo it. And I wanted to go over something about salt later. My hand is dirty. I'm still keeping an internal clock on the pans. Mushrooms have not yet reached 5 minutes. Excellent. I don't want to oil those. Sometimes I do, but for this, I'll let all the steak butter, or the butter that I'll be using on the steak, the skillet should be well seasoned at that point. I can, however, go ahead and wear a glove. Okay. And then just give these a little squeeze of lemon and rub that in. That'll also provide some brightness to the salmon. I'll set that aside. Gloves come off. Back to the stove. It's definitely thickening a lot more now, which is good. Cast iron should be definitely hot by now too. So I'm gonna definitely get you guys set up. Let's actually reduce the heat on that a little because I want to slow down the reduction rate. Olive oil for the cast iron, just a little bit. Yep, a little bit hot, so slosh that around. Cover the bottom of the pan. We will now saute some. If I can find my spatula, oh, duh, it's just right here. In goes garlic. Saute. And the onion. Half of the onion I cut. So that's a quarter of an onion. We'll let them sweat, get translucent, bring out the flavor, bring out the smells. The delicious onion and garlic and olive oil combination. You can't go wrong. Mix the mushrooms still. Definitely reducing a lot more now. I'm starting to see how thick it's getting, where it kind of sticks to the pan and doesn't run as much. So a little bit longer with this. The garlic's definitely getting brown already with how thin I chopped it. It was, after all, minced. Okay, now that the flavors are coming out, be ready to transfer. So a little bit of a blunder here, but I think we fixed that. We're going to add the flavor of the onions and garlic to the reducing mushroom cream sauce. How to recover from missing some ingredients. In this case, I think you can, because really that should have come first. But we can just add that back in. Now we can get the cast iron skillet ripping hot. Mix that. It's definitely starting to get a lot thicker now. Definitely a lot. I'm gonna add, so when you can kind of, it doesn't just run like a thin liquid. You're definitely reaching the consistency you're going for. It has taken a darker color, which I didn't expect. But we'll actually go ahead and turn the heat off now. For this, we're done with this burner. I might add a little bit of cream actually back, just so it gets a little bit lighter and stays thinner. As it cools, it'll probably thicken up some more. But, you know, I think eyeballing is definitely the way to go once you've reached a certain point. And you could say, oh, you haven't cooked with white wine yet, but the consistency and the flavor, ultimately, as well, matters the most. So you can take a little spoon, to taste. Ooh. Onion and garlic. And the white wine. Oh my gosh. That was definitely made with white wine. Okay. That white wine hits. And not in like the alcoholic way. I mean like in the, or not like alcohol heavy flavor, but like in the body, the depth of it. Let's get the Surface-Light vent fan. Picking up the vent fan. Cast iron is getting even hotter now. Let's introduce you to the steak, maybe. It does look a little dark, but that's because I salted it and it's nice and dry now. So we'll add some butter or some olive oil. Let's do a little bit of, actually let's do regular oil, and then we'll add butter on the flip. This is going to be about 2 to 3 minutes per side. And I've got my tongs here. If you don't clack these at least a few times before using it, I don't know who you are. So, cast iron, ripping hot, oil added, steak. I think this is a New York strip steak, if I remember correctly. Wow, that stuck immediately. And you don't want to touch it. You want to let it get its color, get its sear. If you can hear me. Let's get you guys flipping. Dude, I can't see the chat. Excuse me, chat. Very nice. Internal timer, 2 to 3 minutes per side. And while that does its thing, we got to remove that. So let me actually put you guys down. I do have a meat thermometer here, but I have to kind of, I gotta get a feel for the thickness of the steak and how that translates to the cooking time. But yes, I do have a meat thermometer, or a thermometer that I can use for it. So it's coming up on about 2 minutes now. Normally I'd have a timer on my phone to see actually how much time has passed. But I do have a little block of butter here that I'm going to go ahead and toss in once we flip it. And then it's going to go on a cooling rack to rest. Minimum 5 minutes, ideally 10. Those out of the way. I'm cleaning up a little bit as we go. But that's cooking along nicely. I'm going to really try and let it sit and cook in its own heat. Okay, nope, just checking. I'm not going to flip it. I want to really let it get its sear, get its crust, and when it's ready to be flipped, it will release from the bottom by itself. You gotta be patient with this stuff. And I try my best, but sometimes it's just like, I gotta flip it. I'm okay with it being a little bit more cooked this time, especially because it's such a thick steak, I think. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, I think that's ready to go. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. I love the look. I've come to admire the look of a goodly, like a well-seared steak. Oh wait, then goes the butter, and the garlic. And you get a spoon, and you baste. Kind of gonna let the food do the talking for a minute. Let the garlic sit on top. Why not? Whew. Let's take a breather. Let's relax a little. We've had a lot of stuff going on. Let's take a recap as well. The steak is cooking quite well. Are those whole cloves? Is that what you said? Crushed a little, but yeah, whole cloves. I kind of like tore them in half. You can see that. I like just crushed it and then tore it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2 cloves, 4 pieces. Just sitting on top for flavor. Okay. Let's take an internal reading out of curiosity, and then I'm probably going to sear the sides in a bit. I cannot see because of chat. 106. I think it was what, 120? Any recommendations on where a good cast iron skillet? Ooh, that's a tough one. So this one, and I have a bigger one here at the apartment. Both of them I got from my mom. And then actually when I was back in Florida, we have, I got one from a friend who knew I liked cooking. She gifted me a cast iron skillet, and that was my first one actually. Which I then used to cook things like salmon and steak. But where to get them, I'd have to look that up. There are definitely some brands that are like solid choices. And I definitely think that it's a worthwhile investment. To get a good cast iron skillet, and it'll serve you for life. And I mean it. Like, the more you use it, the better it gets. Excellent. But I don't know any brands right off the bat. This is coming. It's just gonna kind of float. Oh, I gotta put you guys down. I'm sorry. You're not missing anything. It's resting there. Just give it a bit. Now for the salmon, gosh darn it. Whatever the heck you want to call it, it's fish. It's good fish though. Swap. Nope. Can I please rotate camera? Thank you. So I kind of want to get rid of some of this butter and garlic. And then get that nice and hot again. So we will prepare for the salmon. Almost done here. Just gotta cook that. The steak is now resting as it should be. I'll move this. And then we'll use the tongs again to sear the salmon in a bit. We want to get it back up to a nice heat. Actually, I think it is pretty good. So go one. I'm going to do skin side up, so the flesh side down. So the flesh side gets the sear first. And this one, you can kind of tell, oh, whoops, my apron just came off. You can kind of tell how it's cooking judging by the color of the side. So it's much easier than a steak, and much more forgiving as well, I think, because you can definitely undercook it more and be fine. But again, that's my opinion. I'd rather undercook the salmon than overcook it. The steak you kind of want to be just right, and hopefully that steak is just right. So we'll do about 2.5 minutes per side. This is a pretty sizable fillet. And you can kind of see, maybe just, let me get a fork. I don't want to point with my hands. Right at the bottom there. The color starts to change and it'll go up. And when you get about just under the halfway point, I think it's okay to flip. So again, we're shooting for about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and then we'll sear it. Get the skin nice and crispy. Do the other one, let this one sit for a little, and we should be G2G. So again, we've got potato and the mushroom, cream of mushroom, chilling. Doing its thing. Okay, it's definitely getting a nice sear. I don't know if you can see it, but as soon as we flip it, whoo, you know? Wow. Oh, and then the sauce, that's right. We'll just splash some red wine, maybe a little bit of onion, and maybe some lemon. That might be too much acidity, but we'll see how that goes. I think should be good enough. A little bit longer. Always give myself a little bit of time because I always start to rush at the end cooking meats. I've said that before and I'll say it again. You can move these dill and pepper back as well as the salt. I'll package that onion later. Let's flip this. Take a nice squeeze on the side. Flips nice and easy. That's pretty good. That's beautiful. And then we'll see the other side cook, and then we'll get the sides as well. We'll do, ow, it hissed at me. We'll get a bag. I'm gonna get a bag for the onion. You guys go ahead and watch the salmon for me, please. About a minute has passed. It's not ready to release. I just gave it a little nudge and it's stuck to the pan, so we're not going to touch it. We're going to leave it alone. Nice flip. Whoops. We'll sear the side a little. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry I was gone for a minute. And there you go. Nice crispy skin. Yeah, that'll crisp up nicely. Do that a bit. We can see the inside is still pink, but I'm okay with that. I'll let this side, the bottom side cook, and then flip it once more for this side. Get that nice and seared. And then I think the rest of the heat will cook it as we move on to that one. But we're getting there. We're definitely in the final stretch. So, oops, no, doesn't want to release. Yes, it does. There we go. Beautiful piece of salmon, if I do say so myself. Steak. Wait. I'm not too confident in how the steak's doneness will be. I'm not too worried about it either. I'll eat it regardless, as long as it's not overdone and as long as it's not rare. So pretty much medium rare, medium well. I'll eat it, of course. And hopefully I can pair with some salmon, maybe some red wine, yeah. I don't really like white wine, to be honest. I just wanted to cook with it. Hot take, white wine tastes black, but I'm willing to give red wine a shot because it tastes more like fruit juice, grape juice, whatever, and that's really all I want. I think this side is done too. I'm going to shake. Just going to transfer this over. Here, rest with the your land friend. And the final one goes in. I'm definitely not eating all of this. Don't worry. I'm probably going to have a little bit of steak, a little bit of salmon, and then I'll save the rest for later. And then after this, we'll get ready with the sauce. So let me go ahead. And while that's searing, no, that's not going to work. I can't open this. I used my teeth the first time. And I used a knife to and then it turns out I have a corkscrew open right here. I don't know what I was doing. As you can tell, I don't normally have wine in this apartment. Very good. I did a light seal on that. Was that 2 minutes? Have I been messing around with the red wine bottle for 2 minutes now? Is it ready to flip? I don't think so. Excuse me, olive oil. I think we're done with you too. And the white wine. Definitely nearing the end here. I am sweating a little bit. Let's take a walk. It's kind of smoky in my apartment too. I want to open the door. Let some of the delicious smells out. No, then the flies come in. It's like, hey, you got some food? They're like, no, not for you. It's for me. But no, I've had one fly in this apartment and I couldn't stand it. SMH. And it's summertime too, so they're coming out of the woodworks. All the nasty critters. Okay. Where are we at? What do we want to do? What do we want to talk about? Almost done here. I'm like sweating because I've been in this kitchen for over an hour now, or just about an hour now, and just like the heat making me sweat. I want to cut into the steak, but I know I'll just let it rest, and we'll do a reveal when it gets to the table, you know. Okay, I just saw a insect fly into the cup of red wine that I poured, so that is going down the drain. That was really gross, but I killed it. It's going to drown in delicious red wine. But I'm glad I caught that. That would have been really gross to have it in. Let's wait. You know what? Let's wait. Let's not have any wine exposed or anything like that. I don't even know. I'm not really keeping track right now. But this is definitely coming along. Actually, I think this one is going to be better cooked. Yeah, it's definitely a lot less pink on the inside. So it'll lend itself to a more even doneness throughout. But they both look good. Can't even see it. Why are you so bright, Salmon? Anyways. Let's flip this. There you go, see? It leaves a lot less to be desired because I think I tore that too early. You can kind of tell I ripped it off the bottom and it didn't get a full sear. And that's what happens when you're impatient. Goodness. What you do your thing, but we'll be back. Let's move these over to the table. Be very careful, I almost tripped. That would have been very, very bad. I didn't write anything on the board this time. I was kind of just excited to let the food speak for itself, you know? Have the twist with the red wine and the white wine and the heavy cream that I like cooking with but never do. And I forgot that I need to move this to the thing that I just moved over there. We're moving very quickly, but I want to breathe in, breathe out. Just relax. We're here to enjoy ourselves. We're here on a Sunday evening, you know. Just take a deep breath, you know, take some stretches. For those of you who have been watching for a while, you know, don't be afraid to get up, stretch your legs. Cooped up in a house all day or an apartment or wherever you're at. Take some time for yourself. I know I should. We're just gonna walk on over, I think. Looks so weird. It looks symbolic. I don't know. I think I'm getting hungry, is what it is. So, let's lower the heat. We've got all this juice, all the fond at the bottom. It's delicious. So, after you've taken some time for yourself, a little quick mental break, mental pause. Do away with the stresses in your life. I don't know why it's crooked. I'm gonna squeeze a lemon. Whoa. Alright, in goes the new batch of red wine. Might be a little too extreme, you think? Where's my spatula? think I was a little too harsh on the heat. The cast iron's definitely holding some heat right now, so not too worried. I could definitely still smell the alcohol. And I want to kind of... A lot of this stuff is the burnt steak and salmon, so maybe a little more as well. I want to make sure that it takes off the burntness flavor, but I also want to reduce, so I have to add a high volume of the wine and let it do its thing. Maybe a little butter? No, I think we've had plenty of butter right now. I know how much butter went into all this stuff, and whoo! It'd kill a man. Oh, definitely still smell that. We'll see how this goes. I'm not going to put this directly on the salmon. I'll just set it to the side. But I think it's really hot. That's the problem. We're almost done here. This is the final step. Let me go actually take this off the heat. Grab the potato and mushroom. Do I know how to cook with red wine? We're gonna find out. I definitely see a lot of the burnt bits still in this red wine sauce, glaze, whatever. So we'll see how it goes. Let me just grab a bowl for said sauce. And we'll pour it. I don't know what to expect from this sauce is the thing. Didn't go for any onions either. I'd rather not have any bits in that. A little smoky in the kitchen still. Let's cover up the wine. Maybe have some, or maybe we'll have some. Yeah, sounds like a good idea, right? Pour yourself a glass with ice. Ugh. I'm pretty sure that's like a big no, having wine with ice. How disgraceful. Wine with ice, goodness. Oh no, wait, sangrias have ice, don't they? When you're having like just wine, you can tell how much I haven't had it. Here. Oh, I don't have a wok. I didn't know I had chat off this whole time. I don't have a wok, unfortunately. Let's grab just a few more things here. Spoon and fork. Put those in the apron. Grabbing one seasoning from the cabinet. Ah, yes. Very good. Things to use in a wok, definitely like stir fries. Stir frying meat. A lot of Asian dishes obviously would use woks, or more specifically, I think Chinese, or even Japanese. I don't think Filipinos. You can make your fried rice in a wok, but as we were talking about a cast iron skillet, a wok gets better with age. So let's do. Let's grab a steak knife. I can really tell how smoky it is in the kitchen now that I'm outside of it. Let's get, I've got some Parmesan cheese. I was going to top the mushrooms now with it. Just a little bit. Probably should have done it on my plate rather than the whole thing. Very good, set that aside. Let's get some serving spoons for those. Okay, so scoop of mushrooms. Apparently I did not make enough because it's gonna go by really quickly. Set that aside. Mashed potatoes with the dill on top. A little thick, but I like it rather than just kind of thin and runny. Who wants runny mashed potatoes? Let's get a cut of steak. Okay, definitely on the more cooked side, but still like pink colored on the inside. I can definitely agree with this. I think with the New York strip of steak, it's a lot less marbling of fat, so that kind of leads itself to this more uniform look to it. But then, of course, the cooking method was the way it was. And then finally, let's just cut some salmon all the way through and transfer, whoops, to there. That's everything you want. That's not actually not a lot of steak. So let's take a look at everything. Presentation, oh, whoops, one more thing. I think cream of mushrooms, in all honesty, it will never look great when you have like a sauce that's just, well, we've got the mashed potatoes with dill on top, cream of mushrooms with a Parmesan shavings, and then parsley to top, and add some green, add some variety to the color. Salmon on a bed of spinach, plain and simple. I'm okay with spinach like that. And then a New York strip steak cut into little pieces here. Oh, and just pretend that made a noise. Boom. I'm pretty sure there's a better way to pour that. Hold on, you gotta do it right? What is the right way? I don't know. But let's... Cheers, right? Man, I don't want to drink it. It's wine. I'd rather just have grape juice from like Welch's. But no, you're an adult now, Jeremy. You need to drink wine and do your tax return and clean up after yourself. That's enough for me. This is definitely enough for me, by the way. I'm going to be out later. I went to sleep at like 5 a.m. today, or this morning, and I got up at 9:30, and that wine is going to go straight through me. Whew! It's already burning up my stomach. Probably should have eaten something, but speaking of something to eat... Bling. Ooh, look at that too. It's got a little bit of pinkish from the salmon, but otherwise it's got a nice sear on the outside. I don't know if I can take pictures. I wish I could. I don't like... But I'm using my phone and I don't want to go to like the home screen and just cut the stream off. But anyways, this is what we have. This would be... I wanted it to be something along the lines of... let's get you guys a little further back. Got a little too close. like a fancy dinner, just like little bits in here. But I also wanted it to be a challenge of myself to. I didn't use like any. You're good. You're good, Ty. I wanted it to be a challenge to kind of see if I could cook all of this without like any sort of measurements. And I do want to taste one thing in particular. I don't know how I feel about the red wine sauce. When all honesty, it's just reduced red wine with all the fond from the steak and salmon. I don't know. That one I had the least amount of knowledge going into. Mashed potatoes, I think. Let's take a bite of that. Again, the peel. These were gold potatoes with the peel on, boiled, mashed, added with butter and cream, salt and pepper, and then dill on top. And that's really good. I think I nailed the texture, at least that I go for, which is not super fine, not gritty at all, but like you get the tiny bits of soft potato, so it's not all just mashed 100%. But it's super easy to bite into. You get like pockets of salt, not where it's salty, but it's salted potato. And that's like, you know, when you get like the really good French fry with just the right amount of salt. Like that. Like the last few fries in the box. And it's got a little bit more salt on it. Oh. But that's the potato. Now, the cream of mushroom, while I think the presentation itself fails, let's try it. This is mushrooms, heavy cream, a white wine with salt, onions and garlic sauteed separately in olive oil, topped with Parmesan cheese shavings and parsley. And right off the bat, oh, that is good. That's definitely like, it tastes fancy. And I can really tell that this was made with white wine, but in like a really good way. It's like savory. The mushrooms have a nice texture to them. Like I said, it's kind of impossible to cook them incorrectly. You can saute them for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It'll be good no matter what. And they still have that mushroomy taste, which I like. But then you get some saltiness, creaminess, savoriness from the cream, the wine, the salt, the lemon, the onions and garlic. Add a little bit of variety too. The cream with the mashed potato too. Why not? But now you're thinking, what about the meat? And that's good. I think there's a lot less marbling. Like I said, it's the New York strip, and I wanted to try a different cut. I think this was on sale too, and if not, but let's go. Definitely flavorful on the outside. There's plenty of salt and pepper, and that's what you get when you kind of pre-season your steak or your meat up to 24 hours before. It really gives it time to develop the flavor. Texture, as a steak, it's not my favorite cut now that I realize that, and now that I'm more familiar with it. I wouldn't get this steak again. It's good, but it's not my favorite cut of steak. I think New York strip is not. And I should have, I think, done a little bit more research picking this cut. But I can definitely see you ordering that at a restaurant and just being like, that's good. One more thing I think is you definitely need to eat the whole piece. I may have oversalted the outside too much, but it balances with the inside, giving me more of the meat flavor. But if I just ate like an outside portion, it'd be a little too salty. And that's okay. I think it's important to recognize the mistakes. on, man. Who likes that? Give me a sec. Oh man, I'm really feeling the red wine. Not even joking. So instead I have pink lemonade. I can't do it. I can't do it. You tell me that this is wine, it's like I wanted to like wine as a kid. I think my parents had some wine at the house, some sangria or like some huge jug from like Sam's Club or something. And I was like, that looks so cool and it looks so good. And me being a kid is like, it's just fermented grape juice. It must be good. And then I would have it, or I could get to try it at the house every now and then, or like seldomly actually. Let's go with seldomly. And I was just like, no, this isn't good. And then I got older. We could try white wine on like family events and stuff. It's just not good. But like fruit juice. Pink lemonade doesn't betray you. Oh, and we have also the salmon here. Salmon. I'm just gonna keep saying salmon because it's how I see it. Oh, that broke apart quite well. So it's flaky. Fishy in a good salmon way, not in like a blech. The crust is solid. I think this is perfectly cooked salmon. I think the downside is that I should have seasoned it 30 minutes prior rather than just right before. Because I get to the inside of the salmon and all I just taste is the salmon. No salt, no pepper, no balance of flavors there. And then just raw spinach. Baby spinach. So all in all, I think potato, the easiest, but the most well executed. Can't go wrong with that. I learned that the addition of heavy cream lends a lot to the texture because I don't normally cook with it. Next we have the mushrooms, where presentation, well, just I don't know. Cream of mushrooms never looks appealing. Who knows? It's just dull, and I think it's the color of the mushrooms, which leaves a lot to be desired. But maybe brown mushrooms would have helped. They're already browned. Steak, prepared well, perhaps a little over-seasoned if I'm being a sincere critic, honest critic of my own cooking. A little bit over-seasoned, and when I salted it yesterday, I was like, Darius, if you're talking about the mushrooms, I think they do look. It does look appetizing, but like, it's not something that like catches your eye. It's just like, oh, that's a sauce. But it's like, when you look at a good stew, stews don't have the greatest presentation, but it's gonna taste good. I think that's what you're in for with this creamy mushroom side dish. Back to the steak, yeah, over seasoned, not the best cut, but well cooked, I think, which is a win for me because generally I season it well but don't cook it well, and that's just a fail. Salmon, well cooked, but not seasoned properly. So I'm actually really happy that these turned out great in terms of the cooking. A lot of thought goes into these cooking segments, I guess. But I'm happy everybody was able to show up and enjoy this with me. I wish I could, share some food. Any more thoughts? I don't know. I got to get through this red wine and white wine somehow. So look for a lot more white reductions, or white wine and red wine reductions, or maybe soak it in some dessert bread, maybe. We'll see. Probably not going to drink it. Maybe I could take it to my parents. We'll have some wine together. It is my dad's birthday next week, and probably celebrate that one way or another. Maybe go to a restaurant, but stay safe, you know, something fancy. We don't get to go out often, if at all. I think we've only been out for shopping and my mom for work. But, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. I'm not blown away, but, like, I think we did a good job. Let's get into it. Yeah, right? Salty steak. But delicious. Mushrooms and potatoes. The mushrooms have the richest flavor. That white wine kills it. And the potatoes are just a solid foundation. Wow. So, what did we learn? Don't over-salt your steak, but definitely salt it. Definitely salt your meats prior to cooking. Potatoes are still easy. I still think wine's gross. Red wine and spaghetti sauce. Aquila, you said in the beginning. I'll keep that in mind. And then green beans with garlic and oil. That sounds like a nice stir fry. You know, cut them up into little bits, maybe like 2 inches in length. Give them a stir. High heat. Garlic. Ooh, I love me some garlic. Every Filipino loves his garlic and onion. And anything else with delicious flavor. But I think that'll do it. Let's get one more good look at everything showing. Dill seasonings on top of potatoes. That's the secret. The secret of this one, white wine. And then a good cut of steak and a nice sear on some salmon, and you're set. You got a nice dinner for whoever you want. A nice date dinner, a nice treat yourself dinner, a celebratory dinner. The more I eat these mushrooms, the better they are. Holy moly. So, cheers to that. Let's take one more drink of the red wine. Call it. Thank you, everyone, for watching, for tuning in. It does mean a lot to me. Man, it does mean a lot to me that you guys show up for these. I do like being able to share the cooking experience, lending help wherever I can. Couldn't answer that cast iron skillet question or a wok question, but we're all still learning, right? In the famous words of Ratatouille, anyone can cook. But then they said something like, not everybody should, and I was like, no, let's just ignore that part. It does hit different. It's that, I think I read somewhere where it was like a bird, there was like these wild birds out, and they stumbled across some fermented berries and drank, or they ate the berries and they got drunk off of it, and I was like, yeah, I feel you, bird. I'm right there with you. And it's just like, you know, flying around, hitting walls and stuff. I can relate. But again, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you all have a great Sunday evening. Hope you all stay safe as well. Don't be like that HEB guy who went without a mask. You know, do your best, do your part. Let's all do our part to stay clean. Wash your hands, your mouth. Don't touch your face. Stay social distancing. You know, outside melee range, as I like to call it. Well, yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, stay fun, everybody, and everybody take care. I'll see you guys next week when we do another cooking episode. Hopefully, a dessert thing this time. I promised that, and then I didn't deliver. I was supposed to make banana bread, and it was we'll save it for next week. But if you guys also have any suggestions on how I can improve or what to make as well, definitely let me know. Just give me a text, give me a call, shoot me a message, and y'all take care. Have a great Sunday. Adios, everybody.